Welcome to my channel, Commanders of History. Today I am going to tell you a story that will make you feel the power of respect, discipline, and courage. This is not just about strength. It is about standing tall when no one believes in you, about keeping your dignity even when you are humiliated, and about showing what true military honor really means. It happened at a remote training base hidden between the mountains where soldiers were forged through fire and discipline. It was a place where weakness had no room and where even a mistake could end your career. For the new recruits, it was a nightmare, but for Captain Leah Monroe, it was a chance to prove herself again. Leah had been in the Army for 8 years. She had fought in real missions, not just drills. She had seen war and loss. She had seen brothers and sisters fall beside her, but she never complained. She never broke. She just kept serving with loyalty and calm. But when she was transferred to the training camp under General Richard Dalton, things changed. Dalton was a man of ego. He believed no woman could ever match a man in the Army. He made it clear from day one when Leah reported for duty. His voice echoed through the courtyard. "You must be the captain they sent from the field," he said with a smirk. "I hope you can handle more than paperwork." Leah stood straight. "Yes, sir," she replied firmly. "I can handle whatever you put in front of me." The soldiers around them whispered, some smirking, others silent. They had heard of Leah, the soldier who had saved her team in a mission overseas, but they also knew Dalton. He didn't believe in second chances, and he despised being challenged. From that day on, the general made her life hard. Extra drills, longer hours, and impossible standards. When the others rested, she was still out there running, lifting, training, and teaching recruits how to survive. She never complained, never answered back, and that only made Dalton angrier. One morning, after a grueling inspection, Dalton found a small scratch on a recruit's rifle. It was a minor mistake, but he used it as an excuse. "Captain Monroe," he shouted, "you're responsible for your unit's discipline. Maybe I should remind you what accountability looks like." Before anyone could react, he grabbed a bucket of muddy water, the kind used to clean boots, and poured it right over her head in front of everyone. The camp went silent. The water dripped down her uniform, her hair, her face. Every soldier froze. Some wanted to look away but couldn't. Others stared in disbelief. Leah didn't move. She didn't yell or show anger. She stood there motionless as the muddy water ran down her shoulders and into the dirt. Then slowly she looked up at the general, here steady, calm, and cold. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" she asked, her voice strong but controlled. Dalton smirked. "Go ahead, Captain. Let's hear it." She took one step forward, her boots sinking slightly into the wet ground. "You've just disrespected a soldier, sir. Not a woman, not a captain, a soldier. And with your permission, I'll show you what that means." The recruits gasped softly, unsure if she was being brave or reckless. Dalton laughed. "You think you can teach me something, Captain? Fine. The training ground right now." Within minutes, the courtyard turned into airing of soldiers. Word spread fast. The captain and the general were facing off. The tension was thick. No one dared speak. Dalton rolled up his sleeves. He was a big man, broad shoulders, trained in combat. He had decades of experience. He thought this would be over in seconds. But Leah was calm. She removed her cap, tied her hair back, and stood ready. "Begin," the sergeant called. Dalton charged forward with raw force, swinging his arm to grab her. But Leah ducked low, spun to the side, and used his own momentum against him, flipping him hard onto the ground. The crowd gasped. Dalton groaned but got back up furious. "Lucky move," he growled. He tacked again, this time faster. She blocked, deflected, and struck his ribs with a quick elbow. He stumbled back, shocked. Then she swept his legs with unclean motion, and he hit the ground again, this time harder. The courtyard erupted into whispers. No one could believe what they were seeing. Dalton struggled to rise, but Leah stepped back and saluted. "Sir, you're down," she said quietly. Lesson over. The silence that followed was heavy. Dalton's face turned red with embarrassment. He stood slowly, staring at her. For a moment, everyone thought he would explode again, but something in her eyes stopped him. That night, word spread across the base. Every soldier knew what had happened, but not one of them laughed. They spoke with respect. Some said the general deserved it. Others said it was the first time they had seen true discipline, not from Dalton, but from her. The next morning, as Leah prepared for another long day, a knock came at their barracks door. When she opened it, General Dalton was standing there. His uniform was crisp, his posture straight, but his tone was different. "Captain Monroe," he said quietly, "you have my respect. I was wrong." Leah nodded. "Thank you, sir." He looked down, then back at her. "You've shown my men and me what real strength looks like. I'll be making a recommendation for your promotion." Laya didn't smile. She simply saluted and replied, "Just doing my duty, sir." From that day, the general changed. He treated his soldiers differently. The humiliation he had given turned into Allison, not just for him, but for everyone who saw it. Months later, Captain Monroe led her own battalion in a rescue mission overseas. Under heavy fire, she guided her team out of an ambush, saving more than a dozen lives. Her name was spoken across the ranks with pride. And back at that same camp, a small sign was hung on the wall outside the training ground. It read, "Respect is not demanded. It's earned." Every new recruit who arrived read that line, and someone would always whisper, "That's because of Captain Leah Monroe, the soldier who dropped the general in one hit." Years later, when she finally retired, Laya never spoke much about that day. When reporters asked, she simply said it was never about winning. It was about reminding him and everyone that no uniform, no rank, and no title gives you the right to humiliate another soldier. Her story became a legend, not because she fought her superior, but because she fought for honor. Because she showed that the real strength of a soldier lies not in muscle or authority, but in integrity. As her platoon gathered to say goodbye, one of her recruits, now a lieutenant, said, "Ma'am, I'll never forget the day you stood up for all of us." Laya smiled softly. "Then I did my job right." The sun set behind the training camp, the same place where years ago mud had poured down her uniform. Now the same ground carried her legacy, a lesson that would outlive both her and the general. And that, my friends, is the story of a woman who proved that respect cannot be forced. It must be earned through courage, humility, and honor. Like, comment, and subscribe to Commanders of History for more powerful true stories that remind us what it means to stand tall even when the world tries to bring you down.